But then as you get into a company, there are a lot of other paths to grow. And so we helped companies grow through mergers and acquisitions. We helped them grow through moving into new markets, from the strategy side, from the resourcing side, delivery, and of course, marketing as well. And inside all of that, especially in today's day and age, what we uncovered is there are some real problems within organizations around their people.
Welcome to Beyond Clean with Ace. In the world of commercial cleaning, whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned professional, you know we're all more than just toilets, windows, and floors. We're just like everyone else with diverse interests in everything. Now in Season 9, tens of thousands have discovered engaging and thoughtful knowledge that's truly game-changing at Beyond Clean with Ace. Whether you're a facility manager, a frontline staff member, or a building services contractor, we're here to help you grow personally and professionally. So hit that subscribe button and share with others. We're all about enhancing lives in healthy, positive, and proactive ways. So join me, Dave Thompson, Director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, your host at Beyond Clean with Ace. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dave Thompson, and you are here. I am getting ready to close out Season 9. I just can't believe that. I'm saying actually Season 9 is about done. That means, yes, that's right. You can count just as well as I can. Season 10 is coming up very soon. We talk about everything about cleaning. And sometimes, most of the times I would have to say, we even talk a lot of stuff that's, well, not related to cleaning necessarily. Sometimes it's personal stuff. Sometimes we just catch up on things. You never know what I'm going to talk about next, because you know what's interesting? If you're in the cleaning business, you have a life other than cleaning toilets, washing windows, and doing floors, and we like to talk about it. Today, we have something special for you because, you know what? Somebody left us for a while. I don't know if they left us or just went and did something different, but we're going to find out what's been going on in somebody's life, right? And it's not probably talking about cleaning. If everything works right, I see there's a picture. Let's see if we get an audio as well.
Hello.
There's an audio. Yes, it's good. It's always good to see a face that smiles. You know, I always know that when I get Mickey on, I'm going to see this great big smile. That's how I love to see it.
We have a good time.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, Mickey, you know, as I just got through saying, we lost touch with you for a while. You went off and did something.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Let's catch everybody, including myself, up in what has been going on in the world of Mickey Andersen. I'm still thinking you're in Canada.
I am still in Canada. I haven't moved. Still here. Still living the dream in Ottawa. But yeah, the last 2 years, about 2 years ago, I moved into work with a big consulting firm and a BPO. So we did transformational growth consulting. We plugged in marketing teams into organizations, offshore teams in different departments. And so I spent 2 years almost working in that organization. So I helped develop some of their internal departments. I worked fractionally with clients, and then I worked as a consultant as well. And so big growth, bigger companies, 20 million to 300 million was my range. I worked in B2B and with some cleaning organizations, and spent lots of time there. And then just recently parted ways to start a new venture, which I'm sure we will talk about soon.
So if you folks haven't been with me before, I mean, you know, we're approaching almost 24,000 downloads. So thank you very much, folks, for listening and downloading. And you know what? Hey, it's all for you. You sharing it is what's doing this. I can't believe that. We've got 2 different channels that we put this out on. And I'm looking at between the 2 of them, we're getting really close to 50,000 downloads. So we want to thank you very much for that. Now, if you've been at any one of those downloads, you had to have downloaded something from Mickey before. So I'm going to just start this afternoon out and say, Mickey, has the message changed a whole lot from what you were doing to what you're doing now? Or are we talking a whole different thing?
It's all connected. So I think a lot of it's just as you get into work with businesses, you find bigger problems that seem to be the root cause of whatever it is you're dealing with, right? So I spent the majority of my career marketing and helping companies grow. And I still do that, just different pathways. So originally it was marketing, right? It was, what are we putting out there? How are we communicating? How are we acquiring new clients? Those sorts of things. But then as you get into a company, there are a lot of other paths to grow. And so we helped companies grow through mergers and acquisitions. We helped them grow through moving into new markets, from the strategy side, from the resourcing side, delivery, and of course, marketing as well. And inside all of that, especially in today's day and age, what we uncovered is there are some real problems within organizations around their people, how their people are aligned or misaligned, how they communicate, solve problems, make decisions. And that can be a catalyst for growth, or it can be a massive pain and cause a friction. Yeah. And that's where I've moved to now, is into creating systems for performance within an organization. So we call it, culture into competitive advantage, but it's really your organizational performance system, because culture is really an indicator or indicated by the performance of the company. If your company's not performing, that doesn't mean you have good culture, right? So that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, that could just mean 2 or 3 people doing really well, pulling the rest of everybody along.
Yeah, I think it's a big mistake companies make, is they assume company culture or culture is an HR function. It's like if there's good sentiment and we have barbecues every once in a while, and people are engaged, that's good culture. But when we talk about an organization, or a sports team is my favorite analogy, that's the kind of culture we're talking about. I'm not talking about nation states, right? It's not about inclusion and sentiment. We're talking about, we have a goal within this organization, and our culture is about all of us aligning and working together to move us in the direction of that goal. And if your culture isn't moving your company forward towards its goals, is it really functional?
Well, there's a number of things I could say along all of that. I would say I'm probably right now working for one of the largest, what I want to say, groups of people that have that culture that or maybe don't have the culture. I won't go there one way or the other, because I've always worked for smaller family firms. Here, it's still a family firm, but I mean, we're growing to a lot of people now. We're not, 20 or 30, we're close into 100. And so when you start talking this, you mentioned one of my favorite words that a lot of people don't understand: communication.
Yeah.
Doesn't a culture have to start there?
That's a big component of it, for sure. So the language we use dictates the way that we think, which dictates the way that we behave. And so if you're not all aligned around the language, how we communicate, that's a huge dictation or huge impact on your culture. But it's not the only component either. So you can have people who openly communicate, but if they behave in a way that's not aligned, or they're making decisions, or they don't have the power to make decisions, you're still going to see friction and challenge there. So yes, communication is a massive component.
So what I mean, whenever you talk about this, though, Mickey, there's always a progression of steps, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So whenever you're talking with a group of, let's just use ours for an example, of 100 employees.
Yeah.
Where do you start with recognizing, motivating, moving, communicating? I mean, where's the starting point?
We always start with the leadership team. And again, for us, one of the biggest red flags with an organization, if we start talking to them about culture and they send us to HR, it's like, ooh, leadership doesn't hold culture, doesn't feel accountable to the culture of the organization. We think of the leadership team, they need to be aligned on who we are, what we do, why we do it, where we're going, and then what are the behaviors and what is the language that we use to keep everyone moving in the right direction. And if leadership isn't modeling that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So we always start with leadership. Once we establish leadership, then we move on within the organization.
Do you find it common that they don't?
Yes. Okay. So this is really fun. If I go around a leadership team, if I come to your organization and I say, I want all of you privately on a piece of paper to write down 4 sentences.
Okay.
Who we are as an organization.
Right.
What we do.
Right.
why we do it, and where we're going, I can guarantee you, and 9 times out of 10, every person has a different answer.
Really?
Yes.
And when you say a leadership team, are you talking 2 or 3 people or more?
3 to 10 people, depending on the size of the organization. It's usually the executive leadership team. So CEO, COO, maybe there's a head of people, head of finance, that sort of thing.
Okay, so you're going to go with the CFO, the CEO. Do you get, like I was thinking here, logistics? We've got 5 different locations. Would you consider each branch manager part of that management team?
I would move them into kind of the second category.
Okay.
So we want to start off with the people who are the key stakeholders and decision makers. These are the final line of decision making in your organization. It's usually a handful of people. Once we've got them aligned, because what we don't want to do is create culture through committee, which a lot of people make the mistake of getting everybody's say and thinking that this is going to be a wonderful experience. And usually it goes off the rails because you can't please everyone. And so we need those key decision makers who are driving the strategy and the future of the company. They need to set the tone. So we start there, and then we will move into lower level management, other branch leaders, and work our way through the organization.
So Mickey, in your experience and as you're doing this, then I'm thinking, is that the hardest part?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, it can be. It really depends on the organization.
Part?
Yeah, it can be. It depends on the organization. The hardest part is the accountability and communication feedback loops that we build in. So when we're starting with an organization, we start with those 4 sentences. Everyone in the leadership team, and honestly, everyone in the organization, needs to be able to recite those without thinking, understand what they mean, and have it codified like that for sure.
Can you move on before that?
I wouldn't. Because if you don't know who you are and what you do and why you do it and where you're going, what are we even here for? Right?
And that's why I'm thinking, if everybody doesn't understand those 4 things, and everybody knows exactly and doesn't have a disagreements on that, how can you go any further?
Oh, well, the next steps are core values. So that's great to know. How do we live and behave and decide aligned with that? Right? Because a lot of times we know what the goal is, but how do we get there? That can be personality driven, that can be department driven, and it can cause a lot of friction. And so the next step is we take your core values. Most organizations have them. If you don't, you should. Won't get into that now, but we take your core values, and a lot of people will stick them on a poster and never look at them again. And that's not right. Your core values are how you behave, decide, and communicate across the organization. They're your guardrails. They're your cultural standards of how to behave and communicate. That's it. So we take those core values, and now we need to make them operationalized. So we'll take them, we'll define them. Everyone should be able to understand what they mean. And then how are we going to communicate these within the organization? Because like I said, language will update or change thinking, which will change behavior. So what we do is we create what's called heuristics. These are like mottos, catchphrases, little lines that you can say really quickly that are so incredibly clear that you know exactly what it means while you're doing a task. A really good example of this is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. No matter what I'm doing, whether I'm writing an email, I'm washing a window, I'm talking to a client, if I remind myself or someone says slow is smooth and smooth is fast, I'm going to be able to understand that and use that. It's going to help guide me, right? And so we're creating 1 to maybe 3 per core value. And then now we know how to communicate it, how we're going to check each other, right? These are simple little lines that you can say. Then it's what are the aligned behaviors for each of these core values? What does this look like within our organization? And what does it not look like? So if slow is smooth and smooth is fast is one of them. Okay, great. For HR, when writing internal communications, what are aligned behaviors with that, right? It's taking time, being thoughtful, spell checking, but also not waiting so long to not communicate. And so we'll codify that, and then the whole point is for the leadership team first to trial this. They're going to spend 90 days practicing and modeling this, talking to each other, checking each other, and working through it. And that alone can create massive ripple of change throughout an organization.
I think back about the different places I've been in my career, and where I am today. And that's, I think most of us do that. That's what's real to us, and that's what we can do. So as you're talking, I think we all do this. It's listening. And I'm thinking, there's a lot of these phrases that you mentioned that we've all heard or that are used within our organization. But do we fully understand them? Are they sounding good to somebody, but they don't make sense to me?
Well, and that's where the behavior and the value definition come into play. If you only have catchphrases, you don't have any guidance. You have nice sayings that you say here and there. We have to understand the value that it's tied to and what it means. And then we have to understand what the behavior looks like with it. So for an example, for my organization, one of our core values is teamwork, right? We work together as a team. I'll actually read you what the definition is. It's we share context, support one another, and coordinate so the company moves faster than any individual tool or technology. That's what teamwork means to us. Our catchphrase, our heuristic is mission over ego. That's one of them. And when we say, what does that look like? It's sharing context early so others can execute without guessing, coordinating decisions with the team so that they can impact, supporting teammates proactively, especially during high stakes work. What to avoid? Hoarding information, optimizing for personal convenience, blaming other departments, right? These are just examples. But once someone has this, and if this is used in your recruiting and your onboarding, as well as your performance reviews, your ongoing training and communication, boy, does that really become clear how we operate as a team and that us as a group are the most important thing.
I'm thinking this sounds like an awful lot of time.
Honestly, it's not at all. So when we're first starting out, the reason why it's quick is because we start with the leadership team and they usually have a loose idea of these. They've just never written it down. So it takes about a day with the leadership team. And then they spend 90 days just working on this themselves. And you're not tacking on any additional tasks. There's no extra work. It's in there every day. Their job is to just remember these and work through these and feel what it's like to live in alignment with them. We check in once a month. How are things going? Feedback, challenges. If your team can't do it, if your executive team can't do it, how can you expect the rest of your team to do it, right? If the CEO is too busy to do this, how in the world do you expect everyone else to live up to your standards, right?
As I'm hearing you say this, I'm thinking, I send an email to one of my executive team and it gets replied to 10 days later. You go, it might take 90 days before you get.
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of being facetious in a way, folks, but I'm just thinking what some people have told me and stuff. No, I don't get that from my boss right now. We communicate very easily, very quickly. But I do hear this a lot, that you don't understand, just like you don't understand. We don't get feedback now. What made you think we're going to get it if we do this?
And that's why we start with the leadership team. Because usually what's happening is it's members within the organization are dependent on the leadership team for feedback and decision making.
Oh, yeah.
Which causes massive friction. But one of the core reasons why leadership team doesn't trust people to make decisions is because people don't have clarity on our intent, on our behavioral standards, on how we operate. And so they end up making all of the decisions and end up backlogged, as opposed to, we've taken this from the military, which is called mission command, where you give people the freedom and autonomy to make decisions within their realm, knowing that they have clarity on what the mission command is. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? What are the standards we behave within? And then go and do the thing, move in the general direction of the goals. You'll be held accountable to it. But we can't hoard decision-making and information. And that's a big friction point. I mean, that slows down growth in organizations. And if it's taking people so long to get decisions approved that are critical and time sensitive, we have to address that. Otherwise, you're just going to continue churning through that friction and the company's not going to grow.
Well, and then now what happens is the whole company culture is that way.
That's it. Whether you like it or not, culture happens, whether you
it was
for it or not.
Yeah, nobody designed it that way. It's just what happens. We do what we're led to do, and sometimes it's leadership through. Well, I don't want to go too far. I think people listening can understand what I'm trying to say. If understand when we're talking here, I'm not talking about my organization. We're just talking in general.
Generalizations.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has different, and I think the thing is too, as we have careers, both you and I, many people watching, listening today, we've went through more than one, company organization usually. And so you've had some of this somewhere along the line, and it's kind of shaped why you're probably where you're at today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the goal is to start with the leadership team, get them aligned, functioning, understanding, and really driving the culture of the organization. And then from there, we're able to cascade that into the organization through management teams, through the rest of the teams, through recruitment, through onboarding, ongoing training, and performance reviews. And this is all about accountability and communication. Everyone needs to understand what good looks like and be set up to actually achieve it. Right? How do we measure what good looks like? What is this? How is this happening? Do I know where I stand? That's one of the biggest challenges a lot of people face within an organization is they don't know where they stand. Am I doing well? Am I not doing well? Who knows? I'll find out in a quarter, right? And then feedback loops. So we need psychologically safe ways for people to provide feedback, highlight problems and solutions so that they can be addressed. But if everyone is too afraid to name the thing that's wrong, how are we going to overcome that? How are we going to fix that problem? And so we have to have safe feedback loops for communication within an organization, not just routing problems to HR, but there is a problem within the function of my role. I see that there's a solution and an opportunity. It's going to make us better. I need to be able to communicate this with someone so I can get a decision and make things right.
So there's two things that come to mind here as you've talked about these things now, Mickey. And the first one is I've got to say, I think some conversations with your husband in the military is kind of carried over here, has it not? He
is our key, and he's a key advisor in the organization, as is my father. So it's a family business, and yes, he has a lot to say about all of this. So for those of you who are listening, my husband is now a retired special operations assaulter in the Canadian Tier 1 special operations. So he's got a lot of experience in high stakes communication, leadership, and all that. So we've pulled a lot of military functions and lessons. And then my father, he's been CEO of large private and public companies for the past 35 years. So we've pulled a ton of knowledge and insights from him as well. He's a turnaround CEO. So he takes struggling companies and struggling cultures and turns them around. And so we've got a lot of shared knowledge between the three of us that we've put into this model.
So now my other thought that I've had here is, while you left us, something hasn't quite went right that put you back to where you're at today. Do you mind sharing?
I mean, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And so when I see a problem, like many entrepreneurs and those of you who started businesses, you see a problem, it's really hard to take your eyes off of it, right? It's very hard to not address the thing that's causing the issue. And so as much as the past 2 years has been about driving performance and growth, there's only so much you can do without aligning your people. And so one of the big problems that I saw was companies, and we dealt with this all the time, companies were trying to layer in AI and technology. They wanted to cut 40% or 30% of their staff, throw in AI agents, throw tools on everything, and that would solve their people problems.
How did I know we were going there?
Lo and behold, here we are.
Well, and the thing is, it's like us in the cleaning industry. Yes, we have autonomous machines. And they're coming in, and the robots are coming in more and more. We're relying on them now in some cases, and we're starting to learn how to use those technologies. And you and I have talked even before about AI and what it was doing, and here we are now in 25, getting ready to go into 26, where it seems, as you just said, AI is taking over everything. But you, as well as I, are going, wait a minute, people's still important.
Well, look, I'll tell you, there's a lot of marketing messaging going out there about how companies are creating massive AI transformation with them. And I can tell you, as someone who's been inside the guts of many of these organizations, a lot of it's fluff. Most of them are, arming their people with custom GPTs, and they're amplifying sole contributors who are skyrocketing in terms of performance, but now carrying the weight of a team while everyone else is dragged down and unable to perform. And so they thought, oh, we'll hire better people. But you can hire amazing people, but if you're not setting them up for success, they are going to falter. And so you end up with people going in different directions, using different tools. Nobody is really aligned, and the company starts to churn and burn cash and resources and people because they don't have it together. And so this is really the foundation that has to take place before you can layer in technology like AI, because it is user dependent, whether you like it or not.
You know, I look at AI as it's just the same as my auto scrubber or my finish mop or whatever it is. It's just another tool.
Yep.
If I don't understand how to use it, get the most out of it, but still, even with that, I can only do so much. Even with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Your people are by far more important than ever, right? And you might have less of them. But if they're not working in unity with the same standards to a shared mission and goal, you are going to struggle, and your tools that you're paying a lot for are not going to work as efficiently and effectively. And so it's how do we get our people set up so they individually and as a unit are thriving and performing at the best possible level they can, so that our tools like AI are amplifying that greatness as opposed to spinning out faster chaos. That's what it's all about.
Well, doesn't, in a sense, we're this part of the conversation this afternoon, Mickey, doesn't AI only amplify the point of the person that's putting in the request, the information? I mean, you know, as you taught me, I have to learn how to talk with my intern for my intern to give me what I want.
Yep.
But then now it's one person's amplifying the whole company culture now?
It can be. It's a really challenging situation because the AI tools, many of them are user dependent, but a lot of them are autonomous decision making and reasoning tools. But we're treating them like a person, which we need to be very careful with, because as much as they can make decisions and reason to a point, they are not a person. And so how they're making decisions, the standards they uphold, the checks and balances that we create are based on our people. And if they aren't set up for success, if they don't know what good looks like or how we operate together, what our standards are, oh goodness, we're just going to have a lot of chaos going on.
You know, and you and I, before we got on, we were talking about my new book that's coming out. And I have to admit, folks, you know, right here, I had to use AI. I'm a janitor. I'm not a writer, but I have a story in my head. So I went through 4 different AI programs, putting in my information, seeing what it came out with, and through filtering through all 4 of them, came out with something at the end that really was talking the way I wanted it, the way it sounded in my head, but it just didn't come out. And I think that's the whole thing. It's just another tool to help me be better at what I do, not to replace me.
And that's a big mistake that we're seeing a lot of organizations make, where they have this mandate to like AI everything, right? Or automate everything, or throw tools and tech at problems. And they're looking for this massive transformation. But they forget the small, the tiny little tasks that happen day to day that an AI tool could absolutely fix and improve or make more efficient. And the compounding effect of that working consistently across the organization, starting simple, layering in, getting feedback, adjusting, and then moving forward. We get so caught up in FOMO and speed, right? We see all this messaging out there that we're behind already. So we try and catch up, but ultimately we end up stalling out and causing more problems than had we started off with some common sense and started really simple.
I think that was one of the interesting things. My wife started reading some of it and she goes, "That's not you. You don't talk that way. That's not you." And I think that was some of the things that we learned as we went through the process. You know, she's lived with me for 29 years. She knows who I am. She knows how I talk. She was there during a lot of this. And when we finally came out with the end product that's now getting out, it was like we found the blend that actually communicated it the way that I wanted it to be communicated. When I don't have the inert abilities to do myself. And so somebody said, well, then it's not your memoir. I go, yes, it is. It's the way I remember it. It's just not the way I could put it out. Yeah. And I think that's the whole thing when you're talking about a company culture, isn't it? It's getting everybody, isn't it some of the same process?
Yeah. And I think one of the things too that we've heard a lot over the past few years is bring your whole self to work, right? We want everyone's going to be better if they bring their whole selves to work. And I can tell you as someone who's worked with some people who've brought their whole selves to work that it has not been the greatest experience, right? Yeah. I want the best version of each person who's going to show up and perform sustainably at work. That's what we're looking for here. It's performance-driven culture, not just fluff and sentiment. Those are a result of being set up for success, of being aligned with the belief in the mission of the company, of being a true believer. You show up passionate, you care, you do your best, and you leave feeling fulfilled because you did that. That's going to leave engagement scores and sentiment higher. But if we focus all on, fluff, it's just going to churn out more fluff.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head, Mickey, around where you're going with this for this next year. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk again some more as you said, you saw a need and you're now, you're just getting this built again, right?
Yeah, we have launched. So we've got kind of two pathways. So myself and kind of our organization working with clients, but then we also have a partner program where we certify people in our methodology, and then they can go out and work with clients using this as well. And so that's really the core focus right now, is building out our partner program.
So folks, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the front page of the website. Now, Mickey already knows what I do. I'm going to do it here because if you've never been with me before, you have no idea what I'm going to do. But I always do this. I always go just like this.
Yep.
Right? Mickey knows me well. Right down here at the bottom. Yep, she's still doing it. She's still doing it. I mean, some things just don't change, do they, Mickey?
It's true. We have a couple of really great resources on the website. But yeah, so on the homepage, if you scroll to the bottom, we have a really simple scorecard that you can use to see if your company is set up, if your people are set up to be able to layer on AI within your organization. And so this will give you some really simple feedback. It takes about 2 to 5 minutes to complete. You get a score and some action items on what you can do to make sure that your teams are set up to leverage AI. The other two resources we have on here for free, ready for you, if you go to the resources in the menu bar and just hover over that. When I talked about our clear intent, so those 4 simple statements that everyone within the organization should be able to repeat, that's the clear intent playbook. The entire playbook on how to set that with your leadership team, model that and use it is there for you. You can grab that for free. And then the core values exercise of taking your core values, turning them into heuristics and behaviors is also there. You can snag that for free. So we're giving it away. It's really simple.
Where's that at?
It's not easy, but those are both there for you to be able to leverage.
Where's that core value at?
Cultural Standards Playbook.
Okay, all right. Okay, here it is. So folks, if you're watching on YouTube, you get an advantage. If, in fact, you're just listening to it, I'll try to get this in there, but hey, go to Mickey's website and you'll be able to see where all of this stuff is. We'll have that in the show notes because I know that not everybody is watching us on YouTube. They're listening to us on the podcast. We thank you very much for doing that. So let's see. December, if I remember, is Vegas time Cowboys?
It is, but we're not doing Vegas this year. It's the one year we're not going.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm going to Dominican Republic instead.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold it. No, I wasn't ready for that one, Mickey.
Yeah. We usually go away for Christmas. We go early December is the NFR, the National Final Rodeo in Vegas every year. We usually go every year. My mom and I a blast. Highly recommend it for anyone who wants to go to Vegas. It's just super fun. But this year, the timing just didn't line up. My mom is working. I've obviously got projects on the go. So we decided to take a little family pre-Christmas vacation down to the Dominican to get some sunlight and hopefully some good warmth out of this Canadian cold instead.
Well, you need to come and visit me down here in Florida. We don't get
Yes,
that.
yes, I do. Yes.
Although we're supposed to get in the 50s this week, so I mean, we're all going to be bundled up down here.
Yeah, I love it. I was a swimmer back in previous life. It feels like, and we used to come to Florida in our winters, in your summer or your winters, and we would come in like swimsuits and be outside and thinking it's the warmest. And everyone from Florida was in parkas, and we just thought it was the funniest thing ever. Yeah, it's very entertaining.
Yeah, at the RV resort where I'm at, we watch the Canadians come in and they're walking around in their
shorts.
Yeah, they're walking around in flip flops and their shorts. Now, I will say, a number of them have long sleeves on, and we're out there fully covered up with everything,
Yeah.
Well, as I started to say this afternoon, we're ending season 9, which means I've been here getting close to 10 years, going into my 10th year now. And I have to say, as we end here today, I think I've acclimated to the Florida weather pretty well.
Yeah. Good.
Now I will say this though, because I was on another podcast with a guy earlier, and I put behind me some mountains, and he goes, "Wait a minute, that's not Florida." I go, "I miss my mountains. I do. I miss the 4 seasons. Still here, almost 10 years later, going in. But then, of course, my body won't take me in the mountains anymore. I can't do it anymore. So
yeah,
everything relative, as we said before we got on.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
So we know you're going to go to the Dominican Republic this coming month. So talk to us about what's in store for next year.
Next year's a big year. So we are looking obviously at growing the company. We're bringing in lots of partners, strategic partners. We've got some new clients on the docket for the new year as well that we're working with. So it's going to be busy, quite a bit of travel as well. We do a lot of this on site. I mean, it's really important to get the leadership team whenever possible around a table and really working through this. So lots of travel, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. My husband's well into the organization with me and helping on a lot of the consulting as well. So we're having a good time.
Well, I was just about ready to ask. So husband's taking care of daughter as she's going to school?
Yeah, so he's the stay-at-home dad, really, technically.
Okay, all right.
He retired or was medically released about a year ago now. He had a traumatic brain injury, concussions, the whole, it's a rough job. And so now he's really enjoying that, but he's also supporting on the company side as well. And his recoveries are doing well, I'm then imagining. Yeah. Ups and downs, of course, like with everything, but it's all moving in the right direction. As I said, somebody said, "What do you talk about?" And I've got a couple new people that have been coming in, and he goes, "Well, are you going to ask questions? You're going to do what do we talk about?" And everything. I go, it's just a conversation, folks. So I just love to, because as you said here today, and we've talked many times, it's about people. Without people, why are we here? Yeah, I mean, and I think it all comes back to that with your business too, with anyone's business, right? Like the reason why we build a business is to solve people's problems. It's to serve people, the people in your business and the people that you're serving as clients. And if we forget that and we get into this kind of other game, it becomes really easy to fall off track. But if you always come back to people, you're generally going to be moving in the right direction. Yeah. It's interesting as our careers have moved on. Some of us are in the middle, some of us toward the end, some just getting started. My granddaughter just told me today, she goes, "I think I've gotten hired at McDonald's." It's her first job. Nice. Well, she tried a couple others. They lasted for a week or whatever. And we're going through all of the things at 18, what she should be doing and everything. So, she comes and talks with me about the business stuff, talks to grandma about all the personal stuff, and I like it that way. Yeah. But it is interesting as you do this, I think back,
Holy, you know what? What did mom and dad tell me whenever that I didn't listen to?
Oh, we asked my parents that and my husband's parents that a while back. It's like, all right, all the advice that you had given us as kids that we didn't listen to, you want to just run us through what that is so we don't make the same mistakes, or at least we know what's coming. Oh, it was fun.
So, folks, you know, everybody says, why do you talk about this? You know, I thank Mickey for being on. And as you could tell, we've had a lot of conversations. Please, Mickey has her own special podcast on our YouTube channel. Go to there. This one's going to go on there. We're going to continue to put some more on there for her. I'm thinking, although we haven't talked about it, that she may come back again and not make it once every 2 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course.
There's something that you probably have heard me say. I talk about it almost all the time. We know where Mickey is going to next month. We know what some of it is for next year. We don't know where the end is because Mickey's got a while to live yet. So, hey, we aren't to the end. There's a journey involved, and that's what we've been talking about today. My point is, folks, no matter what that journey is, wherever you're going, make sure that it's healthy, positive, and proactive. Until next time, folks, stay safe out there. Thanks, Mickey.
Thank you.